For this episode, we will explore the year of preparation of Universe 11's team. We will also discover more of Jiren's backstory and motivations, including the emerging of an ancient evil from Universe 11. By the end, all the teams will be present at the Tournament of Power arena. It is time to start the event that will decide the fate of many universes. With no more to say, let's begin. Universe 7 wasn't the only team that spent the entire year intensely preparing for the Tournament of Power. Across all participating universes, each team faced its own unique set of struggles, setbacks, and breakthroughs. But in the end, most of them managed to forge genuine bonds between their members, even if some alliances were uneasy at first. If you're curious about the relationships formed within the other teams, as well as the general strategies they plan to employ in the tournament, I've included a link in the description below. There, you will find a detailed text file where you can explore all of that. Originally, I had intended to include this information directly in the video, but doing so would have significantly extended its runtime. Way too much. So if you're interested, feel free to check it out. Now let's return to the story. After the Tournament of Power was announced, Jiren chose to isolate himself in solitude, focusing entirely on his own path of preparation. Meanwhile, Belmont entrusts Toppo with the task of assembling the team. Alongside Casserole and Dispo, Toppo spent the first week recruiting the strongest Pride troopers from across their organization, selecting the elite few who will represent Universe 11 in the upcoming tournament. Once the team was assembled, training began immediately. As the general of the Pride troopers, Casserole took charge of guiding the new recruits, helping them attune to Divine Ki and sharpen their abilities. While Casserole oversaw their progress, Toppo and Dispo trained apart under the direct guidance of Belmont and the Supreme Kai, respectively. The following months were defined by rigorous training. Even while preparing for the tournament, the Pride troopers remained committed to their duty, continuing to protect the universe whenever threats emerged. But while the team trained together, Jiren remained apart, pursuing his own path. True to his nature, Jiren continued to fight evil across the cosmos, but not before preparing for the tournament after witnessing the exhibition match through Belmont's perspective. By using his unmatched mental power, Jiren began his peculiar training process. After entering a profound state of meditation, he plunged his consciousness into a mindscape of his own creation, an inner world where he had complete control over time and perception. Within this mental realm, Jiren began to simulate thousands of possible scenarios that could unfold during the Tournament of Power. Every potential threat, technique, or tactic was considered. Every plausible combination of opponent was faced. In this reality-defying space, time moved differently. What was mere seconds in the real world allowed Jiren to experience what felt like ages of non-stop training. By the time he completed his mental simulations, Jiren had prepared himself for nearly every conceivable situation. In his mind, no trick or technique could catch him off guard, and yet there was one possibility he hadn't fully accounted for, or perhaps had subconsciously refused to face. This possibility represents a type of power that goes beyond combat that can really shake up things for Jiren during the tournament, much more than he would ever expect it to. Still, with his mental training concluded, Jiren calmly opened his eyes. Almost no time had passed in the real world. Without missing a beat, the stoic warrior resumed his crusade against injustice, eliminating evil with unwavering resolve and spreading justice throughout the universe, just as he always had. As the tournament drew near, the rest of the Pride troopers completed their training. With only a month left, their focus shifted entirely toward teamwork. Practicing formation tactics, and learning to fight as a single cohesive unit. But even amid their heroic duties, moments of reflection became increasingly common. During rare instances of rest, the Pride troopers couldn't help but discuss the difficult implications of the tournament. They had dedicated their lives to justice, but the reality of the Tournament of Power presented a moral dilemma. By fighting to save their own universe, they were actively participating in the potential erasure of all others. These heroes, despite being seasoned and disciplined, found themselves doubting by the weight of this truth. Yet, they all understood the stakes. Hesitation could mean defeat, and defeat meant total annihilation for their universe. Another subject that stirred deep emotions among them was what they would do with the Super Dragon Balls should they win. Two possibilities were consistently brought up. The first was noble and direct: use the wish to restore the universes erased during the tournament. The second was more personal and much more complicated: undoing the tragedy of a historical catastrophe known as the Massacre of the Enigma Area. The Enigma Area incident, long buried and barely spoken of, was a dark chapter in Universe 11's story. A forgotten evil ravaged the sector, wiping out entire civilizations across dozens of planets. The devastation was so absolute that it drastically lowered Universe 11's mortal level. To this day, the Enigma Area remains cursed and uninhabitable. It is widely believed that those innocents who died in the massacre had their souls erased entirely, leaving no trace even in the afterlife. Jiren himself is one of the few survivors of that horrific event. For every Pride Trooper, the massacre holds deep meaning. It is not just part of their past, it is the very reason the Pride Troopers was created to begin with. Now, with the Super Dragon Balls as a possibility, the questions linger. Do they use them to undo a cosmic injustice that has haunted their universe for generations, and give all those billions innocent people a second chance? Or do they use them to restore the erased universes and prevent mass extinction on a multiversal scale? There is no clear answer. For now, they agree on one thing: they cannot decide until they hear from the one man whose life was forever changed by the Enigma massacre, Jiren. Only with his input can they make the final call. Time passes and the day finally arrives. After having a short time to rest, the Pride Troopers reunite at their main HQ on planet Kustar. Once gathered, they conduct a final review of their strategy for the Tournament of Power, and after wrapping up the meeting, each member checks their condition and abilities. It's during this moment that one of the Pride Troopers, Kokot, senses a large number of unique key signatures around the planet. Even after alerting the others, none of them can detect the presence. Kokote clarifies that the key she feels is similar to her own void-based magic, suggesting the intruders might be using a comparable ability to mask themselves. General Casserole quickly connects himself to the HQ's radar system, modifying the search parameters and powering up the system with his own energy to uncover the hidden threats. The tactic works. The radar locks onto the targets, and Casserole confirms it. They are under attack by the Dorakian army. The Dorakian were once an enormous intergalactic empire that enslaved entire civilizations, but they were eventually defeated by the Pride Troopers and have been fractured remnant ever since. Topo theorizes that their enemies somehow discovered that Universe 11's strongest warriors would soon depart. The Dorakian likely planned this attack to strike the HQ while it was vulnerable. Even more concerning, it seems they gain new powers, possibly through the help of an unknown third party. Topo praises Cocotte for catching their presence in time. Casserole activates the HQ's alarm system and orders the evacuation and protection of all civilians. Topo then rallies his comrades, urging them to finish the invaders swiftly before they are summoned for the Tournament of Power. More importantly, they must ensure the enemy does not reach the planet. Using space breathing devices provided by Casserole, the Pride Troopers fly into the vacuum of space to confront the Dorakian forces. Cocotte immediately uses her void magic to dispel the concealment spell hiding the enemy. The void clears, revealing a massive fleet of Dorakian soldiers along with terrifying plant-like beasts known as Aragunes. Topo orders the Dorakian to surrender, giving them one final warning. The Dorakian leader refuses, declaring their hatred for the Pride Troopers and proclaiming their newfound strength. Topo suddenly recognizes the leader. It resembles the former emperor of the Dorakian, a tyrant that Topo defeated long ago. Casserole uses his eye analysis and confirms it. This is indeed the former emperor, somehow resurrected. What's worse, all the invaders are surrounded by a sinister dark aura, one that seems to grant them godly ki. The Pride Troopers don't have time to investigate further. The enemy charges and the battle begins. Despite being outnumbered, the Pride Troopers' base strength and coordination easily outmatched the enemy, allowing them to fight without taking serious damage. However, they quickly notice something alarming. The supposedly defeated Dorakian soldiers and Aragunes regenerate rapidly, recovering both their bodies and energy. They cannot be killed through conventional means. The battle becomes a drawn-out war of attrition. The Dorakian forces then shift tactics, splitting into smaller groups and descending toward the planet. Their goal is now clear: divide the Pride Troopers by targeting the civilians directly. Casserole quickly reorganize their strategy. Him and the rest of the team will deal with the foot soldiers, while Top and Dispo, being the strongest, stay behind to confront the Dorakian Emperor and his monstrous companion, a colossal Aragun far more powerful than the others. Whatever power is fueling the Dorakian, it is far more concentrated in these two. With time running short, the Pride Troopers must eliminate the enemy's immortality. Cocotte begins charging a powerful magical spell, while her teammates hold the lines. After some time, she completes it, nullifying the immortality of all the Dorakian soldiers. The team then begins eliminating them for good. Meanwhile, Dispo and Topo engage the elite foes. Dispo's incredible speed allows him to deflect incoming ki blasts from the colossal Aragun meant for the planet, while Topo dominates the Emperor in close combat. Despite being stronger, Topo realizes that the Emperor continues to return from death again and again. To end the cycle, Topo unleashes his most devastating attack, Hakai. The destruction energy finally inflicts lasting damage, heavily wounding the Emperor and preventing regeneration. As Topo attempts to question him about the source of his new power, he notices the Emperor's body rapidly decaying into a rotten, corpse-like state. Clearly, something beyond Hakai is at play. Without warning, the colossal Aragune breaks away from Dispo using a ki wave explosion and charges toward the dying Emperor. Caught off guard, Topo can't react in time. The Aragune engulfs its master's corpse and begins a grotesque transformation. Before the Pride Trooper's eyes, the creature fuses with the Emperor's remains, mutating into an enormous, abominable being. Its body warps and expands, taking on an eldritch, otherworldly form. Not only does its appearance change, but its power skyrockets as well. Realizing the threat, Topo and Dispo releases more of their power to fight back. Though the monster holds its ground for a while, it begins to falter. Suddenly, it initiates a final desperate attack. The Aragoon screams as an uncontrollable surge of energy floods its body, cracking its mutated form. The mysterious power source is releasing too much energy, and the beast cannot contain it. Topo knows he cannot use Hakai in time. As such, he creates a massive energy barrier instead. The creature finally explodes, releasing a massive wave of shadowy energy. The black surge hurtles toward the planet, its clear target. Topo's barrier holds, preventing the blast from reaching the planet or his teammates. But the shadow wave doesn't stop. It pours out continuously from the creature's corpse. The other Pride troopers arrive just in time, lending Topo their energy to reinforce the barrier. Topo is confident they can hold the blast at bay, but the real question is how long this dark energy will continue to flow. With so little time left before the Tournament of Power begins, Topo knows that Belmont will eventually notice the situation. Still, Topo finds it strange that Jiren hasn't reacted to their key spikes during this entire encounter. Something is definitely off. During the battle against the Dorakian, Belmont remains on his planet alongside his angel Margarita and the Kaioshin Kai. They review the data collected from the other universe's teams. According to Kai's analysis, Universe 11's victory is assured. Though some teams are formidable, none rival Universe 11 in terms of raw power and coordination. In Kai's views, the most dangerous opponents are Universe 2 and Universe 3. Belmont agrees with most of Kai's assessment, but expresses a different opinion on which team poses the greatest threat. Based on what he has learned about their members, Belmont believes that Team 7 is the most dangerous. Kai is taken aback. Universe 7 has the second lowest mortal level among all universes. Its team is made up of individuals who lack any shared superior ideology or values. Many of them were once enemies. From Kai's perspective, a team without a common purpose or moral foundation is inherently weaker than one with unity of values. Belmont smiles and tells Kai to remember the origins of the Pride Troopers. Long ago, the group started as a mix of individuals with opposing ideologies, some even sworn enemies. But circumstances forced them to join forces against a common threat. The bonds formed between former enemies, Belmont explains, often becomes stronger than ordinary ones. Likewise, as a god of destruction himself, Belmont knows that individuals with selfish values can be incredibly powerful, usually the strongest warriors being those who walk their own path without compromise. Team 7 is filled with such individuals, especially the two pure-blooded Saiyans and that one called Frieza. Kai begins to understand Belmont's reasoning. The god of destruction sees this shift in his expression and reassures him. Yes, Team 7 might be the dark horse of the tournament, but Universe 11 has something that surpasses all threats. They have a warrior with utmost focus, commitment, and sheer will. With him on their side, victory is inevitable. Kai smirks, making one final comment. With the unmatched teamwork of the Pride Troopers and the overwhelming strength of the Jiren, no team will pose a real challenge. Margarita, who has been listening quietly, joins the conversation and informs them that time is running out. It's time to gather the team. Belmont begins contacting Jiren telepathically. The brief conversation between Belmont and Jiren reveals their mutual respect. Belmont tells him to regroup with the others at the Pride Troopers HQ. Jiren replies that he will arrive immediately after he finishes apprehending a group of criminals. Their interaction makes it clear that Belmont sees Jiren as an equal, a rare bond between a god of destruction and a mortal. Once the call ends, Belmont turns to Kai and asks whether he has been able to contact Toppo and the rest. Kai, however, appears concerned. His psychic abilities can't reach Planet Castor. It's as if something is interfering with his connection. Belmont raises an eyebrow. He speculates that the Pride Troopers might be occupied with a last-minute enemy encounter. Kai becomes anxious, noting how little time remains before the tournament. Belmont remains calm. He expresses confidence in their abilities and says that if they truly are in the middle of a battle, it might even serve as a good warm-up. Plus, Jiren is on his way. Kai takes a deep breath and settles down. On a remote planet at the edge of the universe, Jiren has captured several criminals, compressing them into capsules using a specialized device on his wrist. In the distance, a squad of Pride Troopers approaches. Some members are clearly bruised from a previous encounter. Nervousness is evident among them. Meeting a living legend like Jiren in person is a rare and awe-inspiring event. One of the officers hesitantly offers to take the capsules and return them to prison. Jiren complies silently. Before leaving, the squad thanks him for saving their lives and quickly departs, clearly flustered. Jiren watched them go without a word, except for one trooper who lingers behind. He appears to be the lowest ranking among them. Gathering his courage, the young trooper asks Jiren for advice on how to become strong enough to protect the innocent. Jiren stares at him directly, but says nothing at first. The trooper, suddenly embarrassed, apologizes and turns to leave.
少しは期待していたが、所詮この程度だったか。本気で俺を倒すつもりか。
The young trooper stops in his tracks. It's a question he cannot yet answer, but something about it strikes deep. He begins to understand that this question holds the key to Jiren's power. Even without replying, Jiren sees that the trooper grasps the weight of the answer he must find. Jiren asks what's his name. The trooper is stunned. For someone like Jiren to ask his name is an unmanageable honor. Kael, that's his name.
信頼など無価値だ。お前はどうやっても俺には勝てない。
With that, Jiren unleashes a surge of energy and launches himself into space at incredible speed, leaving Kael behind, humble and deeply inspired. As he travels through the vacuum, Jiren senses something unusual near planet Kustar. Even from afar, his mental acuity detects a distortion, an invisible barrier surrounding the planet, concealing whatever is happening inside. Realizing the urgency, Jiren uses his ability to intensify his speed by enhancing his key control to the max. Back to Kustar, the situation has stabilized. Thanks to Toppo's barrier, the overwhelming dark energy has been temporarily contained, though it continues to strain against its prison. The other Pride Troopers stand by, unable to do much. The dark energy resembles the same mysterious force that once cursed the Enigma Sun. Its nature makes it extremely dangerous to interact with, even for them. They soon discover they are trapped within an invisible barrier that cuts off all the communication with the outside. Kasseral studies it closely and concludes that this barrier wasn't created by the Dorakian. Its properties are far more advanced. He notes that it isn't entirely physical, and using brute force would be like striking the wind. Though it could eventually be broken, it will take longer than the short time they have left. If Toppo weren't busy maintaining the defensive barrier, he would be able to destroy it using his Hakai energy. Suddenly, the outer barrier begins to violently distort. Something or someone from the outside is overwhelming it. In an instant, the entire invisible barrier surrounding the planet collapses under an immense pressure. It wasn't destroyed by Hakai energy or magic. It was raw, overwhelming power. From within, the Pride Troopers sense it immediately. An enormous familiar key. Jiren has arrived. Without hesitation, Jiren approaches the rest. Most of them had rarely interacted with him directly. To them, he's more of a symbol than a man. His presence alone brings a sense of relief. Toppo, however, sees him as a peer, and in this moment feels disappointed in himself for needing Jiren's help. But before the emotion takes root, Jiren speaks.
俺は止められん。相手をしてやろう。
There is no condescending tone. Jiren genuinely meant it. Toppo, hearing this, is reminded that he was able to protect his comrades and the innocents. That alone is enough. As Jiren finishes speaking, his eyes glow a deep red. A sudden concentrated surge of energy bursts from his body. Raising his hand, he fires a massive wave of ki directly into the dark energy that still lingers. The two forces clashes directly, but Jiren's power pushes forward, overcoming the darkness and reaching its source. His attack is so overwhelming that he has to carefully control its direction to avoid harming his allies. In one final push, the dark energy is extinguished, leaving only the lifeless body of the massive creature. The Pride Troopers stand surprised. Even knowing his strength, they are humbled to witness it firsthand. Toppo thanks his friend, and together they close in to investigate the body. It is then they discover something inside it. A skull object with an Ankh symbol on its forehead. It still radiates residual energy, an artifact likely used to channel the dark power from a distant source. Any remaining doubts are erased. Someone else is behind all this. Because of the object's danger, Jiren volunteers to hold it. With his mental power, he tracks the lingering energy signature back to its origin, and he succeeds. He tells the team that he will handle the source directly. Toppo offers to accompany him, but Jiren declines. They don't have much time left, and the rest of the team needs to head to Belmont's planet. Despite the urgency, Toppo fully trusts his friend and tells him they will be waiting. Jiren gives a simple nod. As the others leave, he looks down at the skull, clenches it in his hand, and crushes it.
それがお前の限界だ。
His expression shifts, no longer stoic, but nearly grim. A subtle but unmistakable change. Jiren powers up, forming a barrier around himself, then shoots into space with unrelenting force, flying toward the one responsible. In a matter of instants, Jiren reached the location. This area of the universe was shrouded in eternal darkness. According to legend, anyone who set foot here vanishes without a trace. Jiren had arrived on a remote world within the Enigma area. Upon landing, he saw no signs of life, only desolation. Yet he knew better. He hadn't made a mistake tracking the energy source. Focusing his mind, Jiren increases his ki control to its peak, releasing an intense red flash of energy, removing any concealment from the surrounding area. As a result, an immense crab-like creature appears, bearing an Ankh symbol on its forehead. Beside it, a massive portal adorned with skulls and other sinister symbols pulsed with dark energy. All around, There are skeletal remains of countless beings. Clearly, they had been used as sacrifice to fuel the portals and likely the monstrous creature. Jiren's usual composure wavered. Visibly upset, he demanded the creature to identify itself. The colossal beast answered, calling itself Karnos. With mocking laughter, it asked if Jiren was expecting someone else. Jiren said nothing. His expression returned to calm, utterly unimpressed. That silence alone insulted Karnos. The creature, arrogant and powerful, far beyond the Dorakian emperor and his companion, boasted about his consumption of the sacrifices. He had devoured not only their flesh, but also their life force. Disdainfully, he called them blunt prey, lamenting that he hadn't hunted them himself. Jiren's rage simmered beneath his calm exterior. In ordinary circumstances, he would have destroyed a monster like this immediately. But something deeper was at play. Jiren allowed him to speak, knowing that the more the creature revealed, the closer he would get to the truth. Failing to provoke him, Karnos ended his monologue. This time, he had the opportunity to enjoy himself by hunting Jiren. He lunged with one of his massive claws, but in an instant, the entire limb was gone. Instinctively, Karnos reacted by attacking with his second claw, only to lose that one too. But still, he hadn't even seen Jiren move. Trying to mask his panic, Karnos declared the loss meaningless. His arms instantly regenerated. He was immortal, just like the Dorakian invaders, but Jiren didn't flinch. Desperate, Karnos spat out foam infused with dark energy, designed to restrain and drain the life from its target. It surrounded Jiren, only to hold completely ineffective. A key barrier protected him. Nothing the monster did worked. Only immortality remained on Karnos' side, yet even that offered no comfort. Jiren's eyes bored into him, not with hatred, but with absolute certainty. It was the gaze of someone who had yet to truly act. Karnos becomes completely paralyzed. Was this fear or part of Jiren's power? Frozen in place, Karnos could do nothing as Jiren easily waved away the dark foam. He spoke at last. "You are trash. I have no time for this." Karnos could only watch. Fear turned to horror. Somewhere in his mind, he still clung to the idea that immortality might save him, but deep down, he knew he was doomed.
Hero!
A massive surge of reddish energy engulfed the creature. Karnos screamed as his body disintegrated. Even his soul was annihilated. His immortality meant nothing against the overwhelming power of Jiren the Grey. Victory brought Jiren no joy. So many innocents had died. That meant he had failed to protect them, but at least now he had answers. Karnos' species exist in Universe 11, but they are really native creatures from the demon realm. Judging by the appearance and higher natural strength of Karno, it is very likely he wasn't from Universe 11, but from the demon realm. He also mentioned being fed his victims instead of hunting them, which meant others were involved, possibly demon worshippers. Regardless, was clear. This entire incident is related to the demon realm. With the Tournament of Power approaching, Jiren knew he would have to pause the investigation. He destroys the portal to prevent more monsters from crossing over, then flies to a nearby planet. This world was also cursed by the darkness. Using his glowing eyes to light the way, Jiren walked until he reached a solemn sight. Crude gravestones made of stone and dirt, at least a dozen. Jiren stood in silence, staring at three in particular. These were symbolic graves memorials for some of the many victims of the Enigma Son massacre. There was no bodies to bury, no souls that departed. Nothing has survived that atrocity. Jiren stood silently. A minute passed in real world, but in his mind it was immensely longer. He showed no expression, but within there was sorrow and deep nostalgia. Clearly, he was reviving past memories. Still, he couldn't dwell on emotion. His presence was needed elsewhere. His strength was cultivated over endless years, meant to protect those who could not defend themselves. Now more than ever, that power had to rise beyond limits to protect the universe. As much as Jiren loathed involving other universes into upcoming battle, he couldn't hesitate, not if he wanted to prevent another Enigma Son in a much larger scale. As a sign of his determination, Jiren clenched his fist with utmost strength and uttered a word that he hasn't said for centuries. Osu. With silent resolve, Jiren leaves to his next stop, Velmoth's planet. It is time to participate in the Tournament of Power. The Null Realm, an infinite space isolated from the rest of the multiverse, is chosen by the Grand Press as the venue for the Tournament of Power. This neutral realm, untouched by time or space, becomes the stage where fate itself will be decided. After finishing the arena, the Daishinkan begins the preparations for the tournament by summoning the gods of the non-participating universes, those with the highest mortal levels. Upon arrival, these gods promptly greet the Omni Kings, most of them visibly curious and excited to witness the upcoming battle for survival. The Daishinkan then begins summoning the teams, starting with the universe of the lowest mortal level, Universe 9. Following them, Team 7 is summoned. They materialize to the right side of Universe 9's designated area. While the fighters are placed directly into the arena, their gods are teleported. The spectator stands floating above, offering a clear view of the battleground. Goku and the rest of the team quickly assess their surroundings, taking note of the arena's features. Unlike the others, Goku is personally greeted from afar by the Omni Kings, a statement to how much they enjoy his presence. Noticing Universe 9 nearby, the team quickly realized they were the second group to arrive. True to his nature, Goku immediately leaves his team, surprising his companions with his casual desire to meet the other fighters, even under such circumstances. The Saiyan approaches the Tree of Danger to greet them and size up how much stronger they have become since their last encounter. The Universe 9 wolves are visibly caught off guard by the friendly gesture, clearly not expecting that to happen. Goku compliments them, saying he can tell they gotten much stronger and that their team looks formidable. Bergamo responds in kind, warning Goku that he will be the first one to witness the trio's true might. Goku replies that he's also got some new moves to show off. Suddenly, a new flash of light marks the arrival of Universe 6. To the left of Universe 9, Team 6 appears. Goku notices several unfamiliar faces among them. Hit is the first to spot Goku and greets him formally, acknowledging that it has been a long time since they meet. Goku replies that he's been waiting for a rematch ever since. Kaba chimes in respectfully, expressing a desire to greet Vegeta, but suggests it might be better to wait considering the situation. Goku then notices two girls approaching and asks Kaba if they are Saiyans too. He confirms it. Caulifla asks if this is the guy who beat Kaba last time, the supposed Prince of Science. Goku corrects her, pointing out that she must be referring to Vegeta, the one in blue with the spiky hair. Caulifla glances over and asks if that midget in his team is really Vegeta. Goku confirms it, then offers her a handshake. Though suspicious at first, Caulifla recognizes Goku's sincerity and introduces herself, and also introduces her quiet companion, Kale. Goku offers Kale a handshake too. She nervously complies, but accidentally squeezes too hard, causing Goku some pain. Flustered, Kale apologizes, but Goku shrugs it off and compliments her strength. Seeing this, Caulifla warns Goku that they plan to defeat Team 7 and prove Universe 6 Saiyans are superior. Goku smirks, accepting the challenge. He then notices the Namekans on Team 6, but before he can speak, the next teams begin arriving: Universe 4, Universe 10, and Universe 3. Realizing time is short, Goku wishes Team 6 good luck and hurries back to his team. Vegeta, slightly irritated, asks if he's finally done talking to the opponents. Goku responds that he managed to get a good look at the two teams and says that they are quite strong. Vegeta recognizes that Goku is saying that as if it were a good thing, reminding him that this will be a battle for survival and should try to contain his excitement and stop being so friendly with everyone. Goku just smiles and apologizes. With most teams now present, Team 7 begins analyzing them. They quickly notice peculiar details. Universe 4 appears to only have 8 fighters, although Dien points out he can sense hidden presences. Universe 3 fighters appear mostly robotic and imposing. Then Universe 2 is summoned. Master Roshi is the first to note that several of their warriors appears to be women. And then, without warning, an immense surge of ki engulfs the entire arena. Every fighter, including those on Team 7, is caught off guard. It lasts only moments, but that's all it takes. Every team instantly realizes the kind of monster they might have to face. Universe 11 Sprite Troopers have arrived, and whatever released that enormous energy definitely came from within their ranks. Even the gods of destruction begin to tense up. The rumors of a mortal on par with a god of destruction appears to be true after all. They wonder if their team can handle such a fighter. Perhaps their only hope might lie in impeccable teamwork. Naturally, the power display was no accident. Just before teleportation, Velmod had asked Jiren to show off his strength, aiming to crush the morale of the other teams. Even if they were fearless enough to gang up on Jiren, the flawless teamwork of the rest of the Pride Troopers will repel them. As Velmod takes his place in the spectator stands, he has a large grin, pleased that his tactic worked. With clear sarcasm, he wishes the other gods an enjoyable tournament. From afar, Virus glares at him, clearly annoyed. He knows better from first-hand experience that Velmod is the most cunning of the Hakaishin. In the arena, many fighters, including Team 7, are left shaken. Their confidence, built on intense training, is now dented even before the tournament began. Even Goku and Vegeta, fearless Saiyans to their core, feel a flicker of doubt. Vegeta observes Team 11, commenting that it was true that they do possess an exceptional fighter. Looking over their group, Goku quickly identifies the tall, silent figure standing apart from the rest: Jiren. He can sense it by just looking at him. He is the one. Pushing doubt aside, Goku once again works away from his team, this time toward Team 11. Vegeta is stunned that he's actually going there considering what just happened. As Goku approaches, Universe 11's Kai is explaining to their angel Margarita the purpose of Jiren's display. going through all the ins and outs of such a tactical move, making emphasis that now all the other participants will be too intimidated to even get close to their team. Margarita listens patiently and then asks as to why is that one participant walking towards the team then? Just now realizing Kai is embarrassed for the direct contradiction, wondering who would be foolish enough to do such a thing. A contemplative Belmont recognizes him, asking if that's one of the Saiyans from Universe 7. Kai confirms it. Belmont remains silent for a moment, then smiles, making a comment that it seems that his assessment of the most dangerous team may be true after all, and compliments the Saiyan's guts. Reaching Team 11, Goku first greets Toppo, who respectfully welcomes him. After all, he knows that it is thanks to Goku that they have a chance to fight for survival, as the tournament wouldn't exist without him. Toppo asks if Goku needs something. The Saiyan simply says he wanted to see the famous Pride Troopers up close and praises their strength. He waves at the others, who awkwardly wave back. No one expected such a friendly greeting. Then Goku points and asks Toppo if that is the friend he mentioned before. Toppo, slightly embarrassed about Goku mentioning that, confirms that it is indeed Jiren. The Grey Warrior stands alone, facing away from the rest, seemingly withdrawn on his own world. Goku hesitates, unsure whether to disturb him, but curiosity wins out. He has to see what Jiren is really like. Before Goku can speak, Jiren turns to face him. His black, unreadable eyes look onto the Saiyans. Goku stops. It's not a menacing glare, yet there is something in those eyes, an unspoken request. Do not approach. For the first time in a long while, Goku feels genuine intimidation. Still, he wants to introduce himself to show that he means no harm. But a calm Jiren speaks first. With few words, he tells Goku that he prefers not to interact with other participants outside of battle, and asks him to please leave him alone. Slightly flustered, Goku respects the request and apologizes. Even with such brief words, he caught a glimpse of Jiren's character, and that's enough for now. When the time comes, fists will say what words cannot. Toppo, having watched the introduction, tells Goku not to take Jiren's behavior personal. The Pride Troopers' mission is to protect others, and this kind of tournament is especially hard for them, and for Jiren most of all. Goku understands, thanking Toppo for the conversation. Just then, the Grand Priest calls out Goku, asking him to return to his team because the tournament is about to begin. As he goes back to his team, Vegeta can tell his interaction with Jiren didn't went well, telling Goku that the Pride Trooper most likely is keeping all interactions with others at a minimum, otherwise emotions might get on the way during the tournament, which is the smart thing to do. Goku notes how excited he is, but also slightly nervous about the type of opponent he will have to face. The Saiyan knows this tournament is the perfect opportunity to break his limits. With all the teams in position, the Grand Priest reviews the rules and conditions of the Tournament of Power, with everyone present, ensuring that all participants and spectators are on the same page. In addition to the rules already established, the Grand Priest also reveals the reasoning behind the initial placement of each team. To promote fairness and balance in early confrontations, the teams are positioned according to the mortal level of their respective universes. The lower the mortal level, the closer the teams are placed to each other. Team 9, with the lowest level, is placed in between the next two lowest, while Universe 11, the highest ranked universe among participants, is positioned between the two next highest mortal level universes. After fully explaining the format, the Grand Prix announces a surprising feature. Each team is now given the option to broadcast the Tournament of Power directly to the minds and technological devices of anyone they choose. This includes family members, friends, or even their entire universe's population. This unexpected announcement leads to discussions among the Gods of Destruction and Supreme Kais. They weigh the risks and rewards of letting their people witness a battle with such high stakes. In the end, most universes agree to transmit the tournament. For more specific details on which universes agreed, feel free to pause the video and read the screen. Following their approval, the Grand Prix uses his divine power to seamlessly broadcast the tournament across countless planets and galaxies, adhering perfectly to the instructions from each god. Now, aware that their loved ones and citizens are watching, many warriors receive a morale boost, exactly what they needed after the overwhelming pressure caused by Jiren's early display. With everything in place, the Grand Prix prepares for the official start. Before activating the special properties of the arena, he checks in with each team one by one. Team 9, from the universe of spontaneity, ready. Team 7, from the universe of resolution, ready. Team 6, from the universe of evolution, ready. Team 4, from the universe of conspiracy, ready. Team 10, from the universe of discipline, ready. Team 3, from the universe of understanding, ready. Team 2, from the universe of love, ready. And Team 11, from the universe of justice, ready. With all teams ready, the Tournament of Power begins.